Well, dear viewers, today is a very, very fine day, especially because when the whole world expected His Excellency William Samoei Ruto to be denied the ticket, he got it. Allow me to laugh more because, of all the candidates who are actually vying for the presidential seat, there is one particular candidate who is so interesting. This candidate, I think we all need to dig deep into his actually biography, or rather the history, to know more about him. We understand that he was a street boy. Now from a street boy, or rather from the streets, to the presidency. None other Professor George WAJACKOYAH. Dear viewers, welcome back to our channel. I hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching our channel. If you're a first-time viewer, please take a moment and hit the subscribe button. You can like, you can actually put the notification bell on so that every time we upload a video, you become the first person to be notified. Now, I know people have been used to Azimio, Kenya Kwanza, or Oka, but then people forgot that there was one interesting candidate, Prof. George WAJACKOYAH. And George WAJACKOYAH is vying for the presidential, is actually a presidential candidate vying on a root party of Kenya. Man, I think you people should go through the manifesto of this presidential candidate. You will be amused. He highlighted 6 points in his manifesto. But the first point is pretty interesting. But then there is another third, if not third, fourth point is a bit scary to politicians, corrupt politicians. Now the first point talked about legalization of marijuana. A Kenya where marijuana is allowed. I can just wake up anytime, go to the shop and ask the shopkeeper, please give me 2 sticks of marijuana. And I just smoke like that, and I go to work and nobody bothers me. I'm in a matatu, I smoke anyhowly. That is the president that we elected to have should WAJACKOYAH win this presidential election. Prof. George WAJACKOYAH. Now, George WAJACKOYAH said in his statement in a previous speech that in the Thika superhighway, you notify that before you get to the Thika superhighway, there are other actually roads in Nairobi where there are a lot of flowers which are planted, and these flowers are beginning to, should I say rot or without. But then he said these flowers can be replaced by weed, so that by the time weed grows and there is a ready market for weed, he can actually sell, and the proceeds of this business can be used to offset Chinese loans. So funny. Then Prof. George WAJACKOYAH, in his second point in his manifesto, said that if he becomes the president, he's going to introduce 8 prime ministers. Forget about the one chief minister that has been promised to Kalonzo Musyoka, or the one that has been promised to Mudavadi. Should Mudavadi bring 70% of Western voters? Prof. George WAJACKOYAH is saying that he will initiate 8 prime ministers. Each prime minister will head a province. That is his manifesto. Then in the third item in his manifesto, he talked about free healthcare to the needy. Of course, that is an item shared by Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. They have all promised better healthcare and actually affordable healthcare. Now, the fourth item was now the death penalty to corrupt politicians. Meaning, now that we know that almost 3/4 of Kenyan politicians are corrupt, Prof. George WAJACKOYAH will hang all the 3/4 of politicians, because that to be the rule of the law? The question I like to ask myself, what if Prof. George WAJACKOYAH finds himself on the wrong? Will he allow himself to be hanged because of corruption? You know what will happen. Then Prof. George WAJACKOYAH went further and made an interesting point by saying that Muslims normally have a prayer day on Friday. Now, this Friday will be made a public holiday, so that we will be a resting day, so that nobody will be allowed to work. So that means people will only work from Monday to Thursday. So on Friday you rest, on Saturday the Sabbath day you rest, on Sundays for other Christians go to church, you rest. So you report to work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So half of the week you rest. What an interesting presidential candidate with an interesting manifesto. Dear viewers, we don't know what is going to happen on the 10th of August, who is going to be the winner. But I can tell you for sure, watch out for Prof. I think his manifesto is likely to tilt the balancing. You know, it's likely to cause a problem between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. What if he pitas katikati, just like Kalonzo Musyoka always insinuated that atapita katikati? Prof. George WAJACKOYAH can pita katikati, because he is attracting the likes of Rastafarians, the hustlers, real hustlers on board. I mean, he represents real hustlers. You know, remember, he is from the street to the presidency. And him being an advocate, I think is likely to pose a bigger challenge to politicians. Politicians, be reminded, if Prof. George WAJACKOYAH becomes the president, you will all be hanged. Now, dear viewers, I'd like to leave you with those few remarks. That is my analysis for Prof. George WAJACKOYAH. Until then, bye-bye.